Hello everyone, Ember Power here, and welcome back to a new video. In this one I'm going to be taking a look at a Pokemon card 151 Aceless Tournament. So basically the rules of this tournament are pretty simple. You can only use Pokemon from the set 151, and there are no Roblox Pokemon allowed. Now, because these guys are cowards, they took the easy way out and decided to allow trainers and energy from other sets, which, to be fair, it does make things a bit easier because, 151 doesn't have too many great trainer cards. Like, you'd be stuck with just Erica and, well, Erica for Gust and then, like, Bill's Analysis for searching for Pokemon. But yeah, that would have been pretty funny to see if they, like, fully committed to the idea, but I understand why they did allow trainers from other sets. But for Pokemon, you can only exclusively use the set 151. And what is really interesting about this event is that even though there's a lot of single prize Pokemon in the set, it seems a lot of players in this tournament kind of caught on to the power of Dodrio. And Dodrio actually made up 4 of the decks in top 4. It made up all of top 4, I should say. So Dodrio was super popular, especially when paired with Marowak. So you can see here, this was the first player's list. So the trainer is pretty self-explanatory. But in case you don't actually know what this Dodrio does, it has the ability Zooming Draw, which allows you to draw a card, but you have to place a damage counter on Dodrio. And this is basically the only way to actually draw cards in this format, as far as I'm aware, or in this event, I should say. And then it has the attack Ballistic Beak for 1 colorless, does 10 damage, and then 30 more for each damage counter on Dodrio, which, pretty solid and efficient attacker overall. And when combined with Marowak, which coincidentally can one-hit KO Dodrio. Actually, no, it can't. It can't one-hit KO Dodrio. For some reason, I thought Dodrio had weakness to fighting, but of course, being a flying type, it has weakness to lightning, resistance to fighting. So I guess that's why, yeah. Actually, that makes more sense. So Marowak is just kind of there as an efficient attacker, because you can also modify Marowak's attack damage with Cubone on the bench, which is pretty cool to see. But yeah, as you can imagine, this sort of deck just would not be viable in standard. Like, these Pokemon just don't see play at all. So it is interesting to look at these alternate format event sort of things and see what kind of decks could pop up when the rules are a bit more restricted and the card pool is more limited. But yeah, I won't cover all of top 4, but this is a list I believe that came second. So playing the Mr. Rhyme, which basically says if you have the same number of energy on Mr. Rhyme as your opponent's active, then basically you don't, like, your opponent can't do any damage to Mr. Rhyme, which I think is really cool. So it's just a nice way of potentially countering a Dodrio or Marowak. And then third place list was also, basically the same thing. Is this identical to first place? Okay, no, not quite identical, but yeah, very, very similar in, I guess some people were testing together, so that kind of makes sense why there'd be similar lists in the event, but yeah, very, very similar events. I'm not going to cover the list that came forth because it's basically just this again, but we do have some other decks that are kind of worth taking a look at. There was this Dodrio deck, again, I guess, but also playing Starmie, which is kind of cool. So Starmie allows you to place 2 damage counters, and then you discard it from your bench. And why this is actually pretty good is because Dodrio is obviously damaging itself. You can kind of just come out of nowhere and surprise your opponent by playing as Starmie and just KOing something on the bench, which is, pretty good. I don't think the event also allowed any special energy, so that's why, like, Aerodactyl's not, like, super busted in this format. But for 2 colorless energy, which, can still get there with Raihan, allows you to do 100 damage, and then you de-evolve your opponent's active, so you basically just get a 1-hit KO on something like a Dodrio, which is really nice. Also just really good against stuff like Nidoking, and Machamp, and stuff like Weezing, I guess, if that ever sees play. So Aerodactyl, really cool addition to this deck, and a very cool list overall. We do have another Dodrio variant, this time focusing on the Machamp Guts deck. I really like this deck. I think it's really cool. I just like Machamp in general, but a very cool list. Honestly, it's, it's making use of reverse energy. I'm not actually sure then if special energy was allowed, because this list is featuring special energy, but actually, we could go look at the rules here. Okay, so there's actually no restrictions on trainers or energy. Missed out that completely. So yeah, so this player could have actually played double turbo energy, I guess, if they really wanted to attack more efficiently with Aerodactyl, and I'm surprised they didn't do that, but yeah, either way, it's still an option worth considering, but yeah. And then we also have a Cloyster deck. Recently featured this guy on my channel. He's pretty bad, but In all honesty, in this format, it's not terrible because 80 damage, Dodrio doesn't have a lot of health to begin with. And if you're kind of nullifying all of Dodrio's damage with Protect Charge, then that makes a lot of sense. Honestly, a bit surprised that this deck didn't do better. I think this was one of the decks that did really poorly in the event, surprisingly, but still a very neat idea overall. And then, unfortunately, I think this deck might have actually been last place, but this was a Nidoking Nidoqueen list that was played in the event. I think there was only one Nidoking in the entire tournament, which I found to be quite surprising. But then again, it is a stage 2. There are no support Pokemon allowed outside of 151, so it is a little bit awkward to build around. But still, Nidoking allowing you to attack for free if you have a Nidoqueen in play, so you just have to kind of build up both of them. I hadn't realized this until recently that you can actually run 4 Nidoran male and then 4 Nidoran females in your deck after that. I didn't actually know that. I just thought they had the same name. It was just a different symbol, but yeah, I guess you learn something every week. But yeah, cool to see regardless. But yeah, this is kind of like a roundup of the 151 event. I just thought it was fun, worth taking a look at. Get to see decks that basically wouldn't be able to compete in regular standard or maybe even GLC. So yes, been Aaron Power. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think down below. And yeah, thank you for watching.